Natalia.
Natalie.
Natty. Yeah. Tyson Kidd, you're a lucky son of a bitch.
He's a lucky skinny white boy.
Who you telling? What is up, everybody? 3X back on the mic once again, and
You have the wrong.
I put the wrong match in.
You have the wrong battle. You have the wrong battle royale.
I picked the wrong battle royale type for the demo, but you know what? It's only for show anyway, because we're talking right now about body morphing. This is another edition of CAW University, the first that will be appearing here on my 3X Gaming channel. This is my ongoing tutorial series of basically tips and tricks to help all of you would-be CAW makers out there improve on your technique. And we're going to be talking about the big girls again. The muscle girl type that was one of my more popular tutorials on the old channel. There's some changes, some very significant changes that we'll be talking about in terms of new techniques to use and add on to make your big females even more muscular looking as far as the CAW model goes. This actually came to pass when we checked out the CAWs of a certain user friend of ours by the name of Cherokee Shaman. His name will be emblazoned on the screen. Big shout out to you, sir. And one particular CAW was a muscle type girl that actually looked considerably muscular as far as key points, and we have an elimination there. So yeah, we're gonna get into the actual CAW menu and show you exactly what it is that we are talking about right now, so you can see the actual difference. So yeah, first, we're going to watch Sarah Warfield get tossed over the top rope by two people. Or not. Will she go over? Is she going over?
She's fighting.
No,
she.
No! Wow. That was awesome there.
That was definitely a Sarah Warfield-esque maneuver.
Yeah, she's hard to put down. But yeah, let's get into it now. Okay, so we're in the CAW menu here, and we're going to start off with Jamie Fury, who, if I'm not mistaken, was the one who I used in the last tutorial, was it not? Or did I do a random model? I don't know, but yeah. Let's go into the original attire first and show you the differences. Size, first of all, you start off with the number 4 size, which is the default big girl size. And then you're basically slimming that down. The trick is not that different from what it was that I had showed in the previous tutorial, but there are certain differences in certain parts that you're going to be morphing that will give you the desired effect of having a female with more muscle tone. So we go into shape, and the first key area is the chest. You'll note that the width of the chest is completely maxed out at 100. Because obviously, someone who goes to the gym a lot is going to build a lot of body mass, so you want to make sure that that is pretty big. You can't get any bigger than 100. And as you saw from the gameplay, it looks convincing enough, and that's the point. You want it to look convincing, realistic, so on and so forth. The other points to make are the depth and height, which you should keep within the same range, but relatively high as well. That's going to make the entire chest plate area bigger. And then the angle, originally I had that down, and the change was made to bring it up past the negative points up to about the 20s or so on and so forth. Bust, pretty much the same. That's really a matter of preference, you know.
Personal taste. If you want a realistic build muscle woman, obviously that's going to be a little smaller. If you don't, and you want a muscle female that's got an augmented chest, then you're going to go a little higher with the numbers. But like my brother said, it's all up to personal preference here.
Yeah. Actually, I kind of made some changes on the base model of Jamie Fury based off of an actual female bodybuilder. That's pretty much where it is that I got my base model morphings off of in the first place, to actually start trying to do this particular type of CAW, types like China back in the day, Beth Phoenix, so on and so forth. Traps, that'll be another area. The length of those are going to get beefed up big time, the same as with the width of the chest. The length of the traps goes hand in hand, because that gives the illusion of strength within the upper body.
The traps as well as the chest, if you can notice, excuse me, basically it creates a V shape with the upper body from the waist all the way up to the neck. Between that area and the shoulders, as you can see, it kind of creates a V shape. If you know anything about the anatomical human form, and the human form when it has muscle mass, on a male and a female, when there's muscle mass developed, the upper body takes a V shape. So that's what the traps and the chest, pretty much the morphing combined creates that effect, which, as is mentioned before, makes it look believable, makes it look like the character has increased muscle mass, as opposed to your regular standard issue dainty diva type builds.
Yeah, V-shape is the ideal human form, so to speak. And then the other main part is going to be the shoulders. The width of those is going to be almost near max as well. But the thing that differentiates between this model and the first tutorial is going to be the height. You're going to bump that up to about somewhere within the 20s to make the shoulders pop out a little bit more. And in game, where they're not standing in a static position, it's going to look, in combination with the increase in size of the chest and the traps, like the arms and shoulder area is more muscled, more profound on the model. So going back into the V shape, it just basically finishes the job, so to speak, as far as making the model look more, I don't want to say top heavy, but bigger up top as far as muscle tone goes. Abs is going to be another area where you're going to change things around. You make those a little longer than the default at 0. It just kind of makes the abs look more ripped, so to speak, with the ab effect trick that we have implemented on this particular call, which I will also show you in a couple of seconds. Just in case you have not seen the original video, I'll just put that all together all in one here for your benefit. Width and depth, you're going to beef those up too. Not as much, but you know, it's all about proportion here. You want to make sure everything is properly aligned to where the body looks, you know,
sculpted. You know, there's not going to be much deviation from the numbers as far as width and depth are concerned. For the most part, the numbers are going to be along the same lines. There's not going to be much space in between.
Yeah. Another area that was edited is going to be the waist. The width pretty much is going to be the same at 40 or 40-ish, but just beef up the depth a little bit more.
Because, you know, muscle chicks got ass.
Yeah. There's a difference between booty and ass. Muscle chicks have ass. Or fit girls in general. Have you seen Jen Selter on Instagram? Woo!
Enough said.
That's all I gotta say. So yeah, bring that up to about the 60s. Now the arms. This is going to be the real tricky part here. Well, not really tricky, but depending on how it is that you want the arms to look, just completes the look. Obviously, if you're talking about a muscular or fit female, her arms are going to have to be a little larger than a normal female's arms are going to be. Now, how large you want them to make obviously goes into what it is that you did with the previous morphing as far as the chest and shoulders and traps goes, because if you didn't, then it makes no sense in beefing up the size of the arms because it's not going to look right. Now, I have her arm's length at 0. You can shorten them up if you want, but I would not suggest make them longer. Not unless you're ready to do some other elongating or shortening to compensate, like shorter legs or such like that, which is an effect that you can make if you want the female to look stockier and not a slender, muscular build like this. We will have a more stockier looking chick to show you as an example of what happens when you make the arms or legs shorter or longer. But then as far as the biceps and forearms, you're going big, pretty much. For this particular morph, you're going to make the width wider as far as like 50s, but the depth is where it is that you're really going to make things a lot bigger. Almost max, as you can see, at 88, which will make the arms look a whole lot bigger, which obviously is the closest thing that you're going to get to increasing muscle mass, so to speak, on these call models, with them actually being, you know, kind of default, not very detailed as far as the skin textures goes, in terms of making the biceps and triceps look like they actually have muscle on them. It's the next best thing, pretty much.
Gotta do what we can work with.
And you're going to do the identical thing for the forearms, basically, to make the entire arm look bigger than a normal female's arm would. And you're pretty much going to do the same thing with the hands as well, because everything has to look all uniform here. So you're going to make the hands look slightly longer, wider, and thicker to match the wider and thicker arms that they're attached to. And then last but not least, the legs. Like I said, the length up to preference, but you want to make the length in proportion with the length of the arms. That's essential unless you want your car to look like a Tyrannosaurus or a gorilla. Not a good look. And as far as the thighs and calves, it's pretty much the same idea as the arms. The one that you're really going to want to increase the most is going to be the depth, because then that gives the illusion of having thicker, more muscular legs, of which a more muscular woman is going to have way more muscular thigh muscles and quads than a normal sized female.
And even muscular males, when going back to the anatomical form, when the human male develops muscle, they develop more muscle in the upper body. When the human female develops more muscle, she develops more muscle in the lower body. Henceforth, obviously, gotta put on that mass on them legs.
And the same thing pretty much applies to the calf muscles. Make the width sensible, but make the depth more increased to create that look. And take a look at some menu poses so that you can actually see the actual differences in the body areas that we were talking about there. Specifically the shoulders, as example right here. You can see exactly what I was talking about as far as making the arms themselves look more muscular as much as you possibly can, and how everything else just kind of blends together to create a muscle girl, muscle chick, fit chick, whatever it is that you want to call them.
Bodybuilder girl.
Yeah.
BBG.
Yeah. All those abbreviations. Okay, so now real quick I'm going to go into the ab trick once again. This works obviously to create a six-pack on female CAWS, because by default they don't have six-packs. And this is essential if you want to make a female wrestler who has muscle. Obviously she's going to have them abs. Yeah. Strut your stuff, girl. Yeah. You go. You just go. Alright. So what you're going to start out doing is go to body hair. And you're going to apply torso body hair. We'll just go adding for the sake of adding here so that you can see. Or maybe you can't see it because it's... Okay, there it is. So yeah, you're going to add that hair, basically. And what that's going to do is it adds an entire skin texture onto the CAW, including the details of the abs themselves underneath the hair, so to speak. So you add that on, and then what you would do is you add a body art design on top of the hair. I'm going to go into the edit menu to show it to you a little more detailed, so you can actually see the color blending as well, which is a very important part of that whole process. So there you see on the body, there's the body hair that goes on the bottom. And then the design, you're going to put the trapezoid, excuse me, I was about to say trapezius. Yeah, the trapezoid kind of looks like traps. The trapezoid design will go over the body hair because it's big enough to completely cover the entire body hair texture. And from there you can see, if I increase the size here, actually you can't see it. I'm just gonna change it back to its default black color for the sake of showing you the coverage area that you should put it on. So there you see exactly how it is that you should have it appearing over the body hair texture on the torso. We'll back out and then go back in, and then I'll show you the color blend, which is going to be a fleshed tone color that you would achieve by going in between the red and the yellow, basically kind of a pale orange type thing. You can see the numbers. If you pause, you can see the X, Y, and the shade to get that effect. And you're obviously going to have to make adjustments on this color combination based on the actual skin tone of the CAW that you're making. Now, the one thing that I want to point out here is that when you're doing your color blend, the design itself is going to look a little off, like it's not going to completely blend into the skin tone or the CAW model itself until you accept the design, until you finalize what color it is that you want. So you get it to where it is that you want it to be, and it might wind up looking a little darker or so, or lighter, but that's only going to be up until you make the final selection, so to speak. So I'm going to demonstrate here by tanning it out a little bit, and hopefully you can see the difference in the color from the design to the actual skin tone. You will see that if you're watching this in HD, of which if you're not watching this in HD, what the hell's wrong with you? So yeah, it's going to look a little darker, but then when you hit the accept button, it's going to lighten up and completely blend onto the CAW perfectly, flawlessly even. Or at least to the point where you're not going to be able to, make it out if you're playing it on the game. Because you can see right here from your own screen that she looks like she's got abs. That's the point. So yeah, that's pretty much pointing out those points of different morphing that you can do. You can always go back and take a look at the full formula numbers that we had shown on this video and start with that model from there and basically adjust to your liking. But now we're going to show you some other examples from other CAWs that we have used this technique with. Okay, so this is my Sarah Warfield CAW, and you can see that the body morphing is pretty much the same idea, except that she is actually a little more slender, not as thick as Jamie Fury is, but the idea of the build is pretty much the same as far as beefing up certain areas to create the more muscular look. Alright, and this is Garganta, which is one of the examples of a little bit of variation in certain areas, specifically the arms and the legs. She looks a lot thicker than the other two, which is the point. She's actually the biggest of the big girls that I have made. And just to point out on the morphing here, I'll show you that the legs are a lot shorter, -30, and the arms are made to be equally shorter or somewhat shorter, -11. And you see that the result with the thicker abs and chest area and everything like that makes her look a lot stockier than the other two, which is pretty much just a variation on the exact same formula. You can experiment to create your own desired effects. There goes the pose. And you can see pretty much for yourself exactly the effects of the effects. Yeah. Next up is my Arlene driver CAW, and you can see that she's a little slimmer than the others and has more going on in the middle area there. Longer abs and thicker waistline.
She'd be the fit chick type build. You know, the type of build of the girls you see throwing up pictures on Instagram and Tumblr and all that crap.
Yeah, you can pretty much see the effect of the morphing there again, with some slight differences, not as broadened out as the other ones, but still creating effects that make her appear bigger and stronger than your typical female original CAW is. This one here is not made by me. This was actually made by a friend of ours. Her name is Michelle Marks, the CAW, not the person who made it. And you can see a completely actual different direction that was made in her morphing, to where certain areas are a lot thicker than others, while others are not. You know, more natural bust line, for example. The shoulders are not as broad, but the chest area is. So is the abs. Makes her look a whole lot bigger, while not being necessarily overly muscular.
She's kind of sort of got that Nicole Bass thing going, of being huge, but, you know, not completely muscular. Because, you know, Nicole Bass, she was an Amazon, but she was big in directions that you didn't think women could get big in. You know, she kind of had a male type build to her.
Which is good for that type of character, you know. It's all preference. Even though it's all preference, there's nothing wrong with broadening your own horizons and coming up with different types of characters that maybe you normally wouldn't, just for the sake of challenging yourself, and you never know what you might come up with, you know. It's all about creativity. That's what CAW is all about. Or what it should be all about.
The whole point behind being an original CAW maker is to create original CAWs.
Not just in terms of, you know, your designs, but your morphing as well. Your movesets, you know. Create the total package of something that's going to stand out and stand above. That's the name of the game right there. And last but not least, this is the actual original CAW that we based this entire theory off of. This is, her name is Janelle Mckinley, aka Big Mama Dynamite, as you see right there. This is the CAW that was created by our guy Cherokee Shaman, who we took a look at the morphing and saw exactly what it was that was done and applied it to our own designs and spread the word, and now we're spreading the word even more. And you can see the same exact effects, but in an entirely different type of build. You can actually see it a little bit more with a more simplified attire, you know, not too much blocking off the body part, so you can see exactly what it is that is going on. As far as the blend goes with the abs, made to completely, as close to possible, match the skin tone, which is not a default skin tone in the slightest. She's got quite a tan going on here. Most impressive. But yeah, you can see the idea here, and I'll show you again with the shapes as far as the arms made to be a little shorter, as well as the legs, the thighs and the calves a little thicker, as well as the arms, and the shoulders wider, as well as the chest and the traps. Pretty much you're putting all that together to create this desired effect. And now some poses for her, so you can see the angles, the different angles.
That one right there shows it off perfectly.
Yeah.
That's a big bitch.
Yes, indeed. So, yeah, like I said before, feel free to go back, take a look at some of the morphing parameters, experiment with your own creations, and see what it is that you can come up with. And, of course, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section below, as well as requests for any future tutorials you might want to be interested in that we might be able to provide for you within reason. Like I said, I've been doing this for a while as far as the tutorials go, and I will continue to do them on this channel. So stay tuned for more of that and more WWE game related stuff as far as creating wrestlers, the creation suite, so to speak, and all the rest of that jazz that you see on the front page of my channel, gaming goodness wise. So yeah, make sure to subscribe if you have not already for more stuff coming down the pipeline, and like this video, share it wherever it is that you share, and get out there and do what you gotta do, people. Let's see some creations. Let's get creative here. Yes, it's time to create, like Tyler.
No.
I tried, you know.
You did. You gave it a valiant effort.
I'm reaching here, you know. Yeah, let's just
end this. End the video now before we do anything further that'll turn people away. Don't scare the viewers off.
Whatever. Until next time, this is 3X and my brother Oz.
Peace.
Signing off.